History of Ajax. So far we have seen the general information of Ajax, like who could opt for it, the scope of this course, prerequisite knowledge, and so on. Some topics have helped you in choosing this course, I'm sure. Well, I hope so. Well, now let's see and discuss about the history of Ajax. The name Ajax was coined by Jesse James Garrett in 2005, and it is an acronym for Asynchronous, JavaScript, and XML. But rather than defining it by its acronym, it would be much better if we call it a technique for producing faster, more interactive and usable web pages without page refreshment. Actually, this has been made possible in Ajax with help of 5 main components: JavaScript, HTML, XML HTTP request, CSS, and XML. So Ajax is not a technology, it's a combination of technologies. Therefore, in this tutorial, we are going to discuss the development of the components which make Ajax. First, let's talk about HTML. HTML is a primary markup language used to create websites. It was first mentioned on the Internet by Berners-Lee in late 1991, and later it came up with several versions like HTML 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and HTML 5.0 is its latest versions. Fine. Well, this is all about the history of HTML. Let's see a small history of XML. XML is an acronym for Extensible Markup Language. It is an open, standard, general-purpose markup language that facilitates data sharing across information systems, particularly those connected via the Internet. The latest version of HXTML 1.1 became a W3C, World Wide Web Conference, recommendation. I hope this information is more than enough, so now let's move to our next component. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet, and it is used to display the presentation of markup written document. Again, this is also standardized by W3C. It presents structured documents whose content is reusable in a variety of contexts. Style sheets have existed since the 1970s, and its Level 1 became usable in 1996. Its Level 2 has been released in 1998, and its Level 3 is currently under development. So that's all about CSS. Let's now see the history of JavaScript. JavaScript is a scripting language created to enable prototype-based programming. It is most popularly used for websites. JavaScript was developed in 1995 and trademarked by Sun Microsystems. It was licensed for use with Netscape Communications when Netscape began to support Java technology in its Netscape Navigator web browser. Currently, JavaScript also operates for other entities like the Mozilla Foundation. As of 2006, the latest model of this scripting language is JavaScript 1.7. Now let's see something about the last important component. XML HTTP request. This object allows asynchronous exchange of data between the server and the client. It is an API, Application Program Interface, that uses JavaScript to transfer text data like XML using HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, thereby establishing independent communication between the server side and client side of a web page. Microsoft developed it in 2000 as part of an Outlook web access. Mozilla incorporated XML HTTP request in 2002, and Apple incorporated it into Safari 2.1 soon after. Well, here we have seen a little history of all the components that make Ajax, and it might be a little vague topic, but don't worry, this is just for your knowledge. So all our upcoming tutorials will be really interesting, and I hope you will love it. What is Ajax? In our previous tutorial, we saw the history of Ajax. But what is Ajax? Well, Ajax is a type of programming which brought up into the scene on 2005, and, as we saw earlier, Ajax is an acronym for Asynchronous JavaScript and XML. So I hope you might be familiar with this JavaScript and XML. I'm sure you are. But what is asynchronous and what does it mean? Well, this is the word which made Ajax so popular. Ajax can communicate with the web server asynchronously. Let's see what synchronous and asynchronous is. In synchronous, this method means the script stops and waits for the server to reply before continuing. But it is more or less like reloading our web page. Let's see one example. Consider this to be our web page. This is our server, and this is the database. Now let's say here you like to retrieve some data from the server. So, do whatever action you like to perform here. Now this page will send a request to the server, and the server retrieves the data from the database, and a new page will be loaded. So again, consider that you need some data from the server. This again sends requests to the server, and this queries the database and loads a new page. So, just think, how much time does this take? Well, you can't imagine, can you? Fine, so let's see how Ajax works. Let's take our previous example. As soon as you perform some actions here, it sends the request to the server, and the server retrieves the data from the database and updates it in the same page. So, here only the particular part of the web page will get updated, without disturbing the rest of the page, and meanwhile it allows the user to send more requests to the server. This avoids the delay, while the retrieval from the server is taking place, because a user can continue to interact with the web page, and the requested information will be processed and updated when it arrives. So in this way, Ajax helps us to create more interactive web applications. So, this is the basic principle of Ajax, and I hope you've got an idea about it now. Let's learn more about it in our upcoming tutorials. Why do we need Ajax? Do you have an idea about why we need Ajax, or how it helps us? Well, don't worry if not. People who have used Google, Suggest, Flickr, Google Maps or Gmail would have realized that some new technology has come out and is rocking in the field of web applications. So I hope you will have experienced that. I'm sure you have by now. Do you know what the new breed is? Yes, it's Ajax. It's actually not a technology, it's just a collection of web-based technologies, which has been here in the field for a while. Well, now let's see what we can do with Ajax. As I said earlier, Ajax plays a vital role in web applications. Let's see a few examples for this. Ajax helps us to do real-time form data validations. Say, for example, we can validate all user-submitted information and even special coupon codes which require server-side validation before the user submits the form. Then we can do auto-completion. This you would have seen in many websites, where if you type in a portion of a name or email, it will be auto-completed as you type. This we can do with Ajax. Then load on demand. This is like depending upon the client event, we allow the browser to load pages at a faster rate. Well, what else does it do? It also partial submits. Here, an HTML page can submit a form without requiring a full page refresh. These are a very few examples for what we can do with Ajax. As I said above, many famous Google products like Google Suggest, Gmail, and Google Maps are built using this Ajax concept. So, without Ajax, we can't get or create a dynamic website. We could even go so far as to say, nothing is impossible with Ajax. Yes, it's absolutely true. And I hope we will soon hear you say, nothing is impossible in Ajax. Fine. All those above stated examples would have given enough knowledge about what we can do with Ajax, am I right? Okay, let's move on to our next tutorial.